I don't know if you have seen this, but Mike Figueredo is having some difficulty on YouTube right now. I'm actually not sharing this from my account because I'm blocked by Mike Figueredo. I don't care. Anyway, even though we've had many disagreements, and even though I am obviously blocked by him, that doesn't mean what's happening to him is correct. And I think any of you that support independent media and those of you who have independent media channels of your own, I think you need to hear this story. So I don't know if you realized, but apparently in May, Mike Figueredo left the TYT network. So if you are not familiar with that, he actually was not a regular member on TYT as a host like Anna or Jink, but he was one of the TYT affiliated networks. Secular Talk was one of those networks at one point. So was David Pakman back in the day. A lot of people don't know that, by the way, about David Pakman. Back in the day, he was a part of it. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, he decided to leave TYT last month and something weird happened. So he tweeted this: "Dear Team YouTube, Neil Mohan," don't know Neil, "and anyone at YouTube that cares. I'm a queer creator with 400K subs who discusses LGBTQ issues frequently. I lost monetization on May 1st and still haven't gotten it back. It's been utterly devastating." By the way, and you'll see this in the video clip I play, that was the same day he left the TYT network. And I'm going to break all this down, how this works in YouTube for those of you that are not familiar. He goes on to say, this is a thread: "I've literally lost almost all of my 300 plus memberships permanently that took years to acquire. Since I'm not monetized, they're being automatically canceled since they cannot be renewed. Members I've had for years will lose their royalty badges." And he actually put a screenshot here, May 9th, when I started keeping track, 171 members, and there's a down arrow that says 15%. June 2nd, total members 22. So YouTube was removing members from his channel once his channel was demonetized. Let's go on. Boop-de-boop. "I left my MCN TYT network." By the way, MCN is multi-channel network. I'll explain that later. "On May 1st, resulting in automatic demonetization, and was forced to reapply to the partner program, even though I've already been a YouTube partner since 2015. My former MCN has been kind enough to try to help, but even they haven't had any luck." Partner program is what, so those of us that are monetized, when you become monetized on YouTube, you get this email notification that says you are officially a part of the YouTube partner program, right? So it only happens for channels that are monetized. If you're not monetized, you're not a part of this. It's where you can seek out like help if you need help. You don't talk to an actual person though. Like, you don't have a real person, but tips and things like all that kind of stuff is a part of that partner program. He goes on to say, "The first week YouTube support told me remonetization was imminent. 2 weeks later, YouTube told me it definitely wouldn't take longer than 30 days. On day 30, I was told to wait a couple more days. A couple more days went by and nothing. It feels like I'm being punished." Here's a screenshot here where it says "get reviewed in progress." So essentially what has happened here is that it's almost like he's starting all over from the very beginning when you first apply for monetization. Does that make sense? Even though he was already monetized and he had over 400,000 subscribers, something happened the moment he left the TYT network. And this is just, this is really unfortunate. This is crazy. Like, my channel is in good standing. I follow TOS, that's terms of service, and my ad rating is very high, yet I can't even get a straight answer from anyone. I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. Meanwhile, hateful bigots like Ben Shapiro are monetized and probably wouldn't get the same treatment if he was in my situation. Here, I wouldn't have brought other people into it. Particularly because Ben Shapiro was not a part of the TYT network. This is a different situation. So I wouldn't have brought him in. I wouldn't have brought in the whole hate, the bigot thing. I wouldn't have brought any of that into this situation, because it's not like this is the only person this has happened to. This has happened to other people. So I wouldn't have just gone down that road. That's just me. He goes on to say, are queer creators disposable to you at Team YouTube? At a minimum, I deserve to know when my monetization will actually be restored. A longtime YouTube partner in good standing shouldn't be subjected to this BS for simply leaving their MCN. Again, I wouldn't have brought in this particular, like I wouldn't have brought, I don't think that has anything to do with why this happened. I just know so many people that have run into the whole demonetization issue. Like, I don't think that has anything to do with it. Let me go on here. To anyone reading this, please retweet to boost its visibility. I've kept my mouth shut because it didn't seem wise to bite the hand that feeds me, but this is just downright, ridiculous. I am not going to let them ignore me anymore. I want answers. So Mike actually did post a video about this as well. God, I have so much to say. Let's get into the video and I'll chime in between.
For those of you who don't know, I lost monetization entirely on this channel on May 1st. No videos can be monetized, even older ones that were already approved for monetization. I can't take super chats. I can't take super thanks. The hundreds of members who signed up to contribute either $1, $3, or $5 each month, almost all of them were canceled. I had hundreds. We're down to 22. And the reason why they're being canceled is because since my channel currently does not support monetization, well, if you joined and your membership is up for review, well, since there's no monetization, it just gets automatically canceled. That is a permanent loss of a member. And unless they manually join again, if I get monetization back, then that's just, it's over, it's gone. If you were a member for 2 years and you have that 2-year badge, well, you lose that badge now. So what happened exactly? Why was I demonetized? Did I break the terms of service? Did I post something a little bit too spicy? No, it was completely arbitrary. So on May 1st, I officially left my MCN. For those of you who don't know, smaller channels join networks called multi-channel networks, and we become partners with these larger networks because since we're too small to have our own rep to advocate for us to YouTube, we oftentimes have larger networks represent us.
Let me come in right here. I want to break this down. Okay, long story short. TYT has a channel within YouTube. Now, some of you may hear this and you're like, well, Sabrina, everyone that has a YouTube channel has a channel within YouTube. Not really. The rest of us have channels on YouTube. TYT has an actual channel within YouTube, just like CNN does and Fox News does. They're on the corporate algorithm. Those types of channels, they actually have a representative at YouTube that they can contact when something goes awry. So like, for example, if a video is removed or whatever, I just have to submit a ticket to YouTube. I don't have a person I can talk to. My channel is not big enough for that. Like, this is for the large, like the really large channels. And of course, those MCNs, those multi-channel networks that have a channel within YouTube, they have a representative. So because Mike was a part of TYT, as an affiliate, he had access to that TYT representative. Let me say something here. I don't agree with what is happening. I don't agree with channels being demonetized. I've been vocal about this for a long time. I don't agree with people being deplatformed. I do not care. I'm sorry. I do not agree with that. I just don't. And while I have criticisms of Mike, and we disagree on a lot of things, but I will say this. I think that now Mike is starting to finally see what the rest of us who are not attached to an MCN have been dealing with for the past couple of years. Those of us who have been demonetized, I have videos that are, some of my videos are demonetized. Those people who have been deplatformed, people who have had their channels removed entirely. I think now he's starting to see that you don't have that protection anymore that you had when you were an affiliate with TYT. They can talk about the pandemic freely. They can talk about the jab. They can talk about those things freely. They are protected by YouTube. I'm not. RBN is not. You guys saw RBN. We had a strike. You guys know about this. You know, it's just the smaller people that don't have these reps, those of us not on the corporate algorithm, we are not protected. So I have to, use different words, avoid certain subjects or issues on this platform altogether, and only do it on Rumble or Rockfin, that kind of thing. But they can talk about those things. They can show like videos, like the police killing videos. They can show those things. They're protected by YouTube. Meanwhile, when I show those types of videos, I've shown a lot of policing videos on this channel. When I've shown some of the policing videos, I get this disclaimer on my video that says you must be 18 years or old. Like it's crazy. So I think that now Mike is finally starting to see what the rest of us have been going through. And because he was picked up by TYT, so to speak, as an affiliate, because you are an affiliate of that network, which is an MCN, which is a channel within YouTube, which has a YouTube representative, you are going to grow like that because you're on the corporate algorithm. So your channel is going to take off. This is why channels like this one, Rational National, Secular Talk was once a part of TYT. This is why it was easier for them to get hundreds and thousands of subscribers as quickly as they did, because they were on that corporate algorithm. I can show you what that looks like at some point, by the way. The rest of us are not. So I can type in YouTube, and I did this recently. You guys know as many times as I've talked about Jeffrey Epstein on this channel. I could type in Noam Chomsky, Jeffrey Epstein. My video doesn't even come up until you've scrolled through probably 50, 60 videos. Their videos are at the top. TYT's videos at the top. Breaking Point's videos at the top. Humanist Report videos were at the top. This is why we were so suppressed, because we were not a part of the corporate algorithm. I'm still suppressed like that. So unless you see me on some other show and that's how you found me, or the algorithm just happened to kick in my favor for one video, most people don't know I'm here. And that goes for most of us in independent media. Let's go on.
So my network partner was TYT Network, and I was with them since 2017. I left as of May. But as soon as I was unplugged from TYT Network, I was automatically demonetized and was forced to reapply for the YouTube Partner Program in order to continue being monetized. Now, I found that very bizarre, because I was a YouTube partner before I joined my MCN back in 2017. I was already approved for monetization. Every time we upload a video to YouTube, we have to rate our video to determine if it's eligible for advertisings. And YouTube determined that my ratings were very high because I accurately demonetized videos that I needed to if I knew that they weren't suitable for all advertisers. So for me to have
Right, but once your channel is completely demonetized, you have to start all over and reapply again. That's how it works. This is what I'm saying. I know so many people that this has happened to. So it's just
to reapply to the program seemed so arbitrary and unnecessary, especially considering that larger creators like Ethan Klein, for example, who I watch, just in April, he had a huge dispute with his MCN, BBTV. He left, and there was no disruption to his monetization as far as I know. I watched.
But that's a different MCN. That's not TYT. And that could be part of it. So this is what I'm going to throw at you people. What kind of deal does TYT have with YouTube? What kind of deal does TYT have with YouTube?
His channel pretty regularly. No disruption to memberships, nothing. But a month later, so much changed on YouTube that me leaving an MCN results in losing monetization, and leaving an MCN amicably. By the way, my MCN, TYT, is currently trying to advocate on my behalf to figure out what's going on, even though they're no longer my partner, even though I'm not their client, right? So nobody knows what's going on, and I've talked to YouTube, and they don't know what's going on. They keep telling me different things. So the initial thing that I got was, well, it's going to take 2 to 4 weeks. I assumed it wouldn't take that long initially because, again, I've been a partner for a very long time in good standing, no TOS violations, no community guideline strikes. But within a week, I get a little bit impatient and I reach out to a YouTube representative, just basic support. I don't have an actual rep to represent me, but I talked to YouTube creator support and they said, okay, I looked at this. It looks like monetization is imminent for you. So I thought, okay, great. This isn't going to take that long. It's going to hurt because I'm losing a week's worth of revenue. And then it's going to take time once I'm remonetized to build up that revenue again. But as long as it happens quickly, that's fine. Well, weeks go by. So 2 weeks later, I talked to another representative and they look into it and they say, okay, well, you know what? It's taking a little bit longer. I'm sorry. Maybe there's a backup, but it's definitely not going to be longer than 30 days. I can guarantee your channel is going to be remonetized within 30 days.
Thank you so much for saying this, P. Walker. This is exactly what I was thinking. Mike is too trusting. I would expect that TYT is lying to him, that they've tried to kick this upstairs. I was wondering the same thing. I mean, there are other channels that have left the TYT network. David Pakman was once a part of TYT. He left the TYT network, went off on his own and blew up tremendously. Now we have our issues with David Pakman, but that didn't happen to him. Secular Talk also left TYT. Remember, Jink announced that actually on TYT. I don't know. We haven't heard anything. We haven't heard Kyle say anything like that. So I don't know if that happened to Secular Talk. It seems like it just happened to Mike. Jimmy Dore, thank you. Another one who was also once a part of TYT, didn't happen to Jimmy. So it seems like to me, this issue is only happening with Mike.
Day 30 rolls around, still no monetization. I talked to a YouTube rep and basically they say, well, okay, it's taking a little bit longer. Let's wait a couple more days. That was on Tuesday. A couple more days rolls around. No monetization. So what the fuck is going on? Now, the response to these folks, when you talk to them, they're indistinguishable from AI bots. I don't even know if I'm talking to a real person. I mean, I think they are real people, but they basically just copy and paste things that YouTube tells them to. I don't think they have any information that I don't already have. So I don't even necessarily know if it's their fault that they can't be helpful. The problem is that this is my livelihood. And now I've lost a month, permanently lost almost all of my memberships. And now it's to the point where I don't even know if monetization is ever going to return to my channel, because we were talking about this on Leftist Mafia last night and we were joking about, hey, you should play the gay card. It's Pride. You can do what you want. And I thought, I don't want to use that because that feels really disingenuous, right?
Yeah, don't. Like, I'm sorry, but don't. I don't think that has anything to do with this. There are multiple commentators and content creators on YouTube that are part of the LGBTQ community. I don't see YouTube demonetizing their channels, like I would not play that card.
But then I slept on it and I started thinking, oh my God, wait a second. How many times in my life have I seen people get ghosted or been ghosted myself for being gay? I've seen landlords not rent to my friends when he realizes that they're gay. I've had friends all of a sudden cease contact when they get with a partner who's homophobic. So I started thinking about this. And again, this is conjecture. I don't know for sure what the fuck is going on, but the specialists who review my channel for monetization, these are just normal people. And my channel is a very politically charged channel, right? I talk about LGBTQ plus issues. I talk about a lot of political issues. So,
but how does he know when he says they're just normal people? How does he know the people reviewing his channel are not also a part of the LGBTQ community? How does he know they're just normal people? Honey,
am I being punished? Because it feels like I'm being punished. Is there somebody who's just anti-gay who thinks that this groomer shouldn't be monetized? I mean, you start, and again, I want to emphasize that this is conjecture. I have no evidence for this, but you start to kind of, like, your mind goes to weird places when you begin to get desperate, right? And that's where we're at. I'm losing sleep over this. I'm extremely stressed out. My mental health has deteriorated because if they're never going to monetize me again, that's their decision. They have the right to do that. But I at least deserve an answer. I deserve to know whether or not that's the case. But it's the uncertainty that is killing me because they're making it seem as if there's no way of telling, right? These specialists, they're in some sort of a fucking underground bunker and you can't check up on them and say, hey, this large 400,000 plus LGBTQ plus creator, any updates on that? Now, I reached out.
I really don't think that is the case. I'm sorry. I feel like this is reaching a little bit. I don't think that has anything to do with it. If that was the case, that would be applied to other people who are also LGBTQ on this platform. I don't think that has anything to do with it. Like, honestly, it appears to me that whatever relationships that people have had with TYT along the way just don't seem to turn out good for them in the end. And all I'm going to say, oh, Jonathan. Jonathan says, wait a minute, LGBTQ aren't normal. Damn, I'm always last to know. Yeah, it just, I just don't think, I think this is a poor look here. I don't think this is fair. I just think that it's YouTube being YouTube. I don't think it has anything to do with his sexuality. So I don't know why he played that card. I don't get this.
And Team YouTube on Twitter responded with, I mean, they're not even using their good AI. That was my response to them because they basically said, oh, well, if it's taking longer than 30 days, that means that there is additional reviews going on. There's something extra going on. Perhaps something is wrong. They didn't say this, but that's kind of the subtext, right? But that's such horseshit. Why is my channel getting so much scrutiny when I've been a partner for years?
It doesn't matter. I have to make this very clear, you guys. It doesn't matter how long you've been a partner. We've known people on this platform. In fact, one of them, Lee Camp, was just here the other day, who have been partners for a long time, and they got rid of them just like that. It doesn't matter how long you've been a partner. Again, I think the bigger issue here is the censorship, which we've talked about oftentimes, which is, in this particular situation, is connected to the relationship that his channel had with the TYT network. And you shouldn't have to be a part of an MCN to basically have protection when it comes to the censorship. So if you have a channel as large as his that has as many videos as his has, I'm wondering if the review process is taking so long because he has so many videos. And like I said, remember when they were under that TYT umbrella, they're protected to talk about certain issues that the rest of us have to be very wary of discussing on this platform, or we have to tiptoe around certain words or use code words when we discuss it. Mike was not used to doing that because he was on that TYT affiliated as a network, as an affiliate. So he had that protection. He had a YouTube representative through TYT. The rest of us did not have that. Still don't have that. So now Mike is honestly starting to see what the rest of us have been having to deal with. And here's the thing, like, you know, he blocked me. I think he may have blocked Colin too. He blocked me because we corrected him because he was incorrect on Twitter about Biden canceling student loan debt. And Colin and I corrected him on that, about how Joe Biden did not use the proper path, and the path that he was told to use was through the Higher Education Act of 1965 and not the HEROES Act. His response to us was to call us dipshits. Immediately just switched and called us names and blocked us and all this stuff. And so I had to take a step back and look at it and say, you know, if this had happened to one of us, would Mike be like, oh yeah, that's not right? Or would Mike just say, ha ha, those Jimmy Dore doorknobs, which is also what he referred to us as. So again, like, I don't agree with the censorship. I don't agree with what is happening here. I think it's ridiculous. But I'm also wondering if this situation will humble him in some way, so to speak. I don't know. But just because you have 400,000 subscribers and just because you were a part of that program doesn't mean they can't take you down. They can take anyone down. And I think he was used to having that protection from TYT. And so now this is really shocking to him. But it's not shocking to the rest of us.
On this fucking platform, I've been a partner for years. Every single video I rate accurately according to YouTube for monetization. I am safe for ads. And yet, meanwhile, they're being overly rigorous in scrutinizing my channel, but Ben Shapiro gets monetized. Gets floated to the top with the algorithm. Candace Owens spreads hate, spews hate speech on a daily basis. She's monetized. But the Humanist Report, no.
Aren't Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens also attached to a multi-channel network? I think they're all still up under a MCN, and that's probably why they're protected. But see, when Mike, when you left TYT, you lost that protection. See, that's the thing. You don't have a representative at YouTube anymore. So I think that's this is a big part of the thing. I mean, it's just, again, like, let's just go back into the video.
Monetization. It is so draining to have to deal with this every fucking day. To check that monetization page and still see it's in progress.
I'm sorry. So here's the thing. For those of us that started after YouTube changed their policies, and let me explain what that means. People like Kyle, for example, when he started YouTube, you didn't have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch time hours in order to become monetized. There were people that started YouTube years ago, back when you could just create a channel and boom, you could choose whether or not to have ads appear on your channel. They didn't have to reach the requirements that the rest of us had to reach. I had to get to the 1,000 subs, and then I had to get that 4,000 watch time hours. And even then, when you apply for monetization, yes, it took some time. Like, it didn't happen right away. I think it took like maybe 28 days, but it didn't happen like right away. Then they have to send you your Google like pin and all that stuff. Like, it's a process. And so I think for some of these channels that have been around for a long time and they didn't have to go through what us newer commentators had to go through. Yeah, I think this could be really shocking for them, but it's not shocking for the rest of us. That's the thing.
So it's to the point where I'm not really sure what to do. I don't know if this is the end of the road for the Humanist Report, because I can't do this full time if I can't support myself, right? I left a job at my university to do YouTube full time.
I would not have done that. I would not have done that. That's just my advice. I keep asking everyone else that comes on this show, what's their advice for people who want to do independent commentary or independent journalism. I make sure you got something on the side. Make sure you have some other type of revenue coming in. That's my word of advice.
I gave up a second year of funding that I secured for the PhD program that I was in to do this full time because I felt like I could make a difference. But if these...
I wouldn't have done that either. I'm sorry. Having advised students in PhD programs, they get like fellowships, or some of them get research assistantships. I would have never just given that up. It's not easy to get those fellowships again, or those RAs again. It's not easy to get that. Some people get the teaching assistantship, where you get that the funding is basically a stipend. That's what you're supposed to use to pay for, your necessities and all that stuff. And because you're a PhD student, the idea is that you're not going to have time to have another job. So they give you that stipend, but they don't give these stipends to everyone. So for me, if I got that funding, there are plenty of times like I wanted to, go towards back towards media, because that was my position. That was my field. When I was an undergrad, I majored in broadcast journalism. There were plenty of times I thought about doing this, but honestly, financially, it just wasn't the right fit. And especially for grad school, at one point in grad school, I got a scholarship. Like, what if I would have just given up that scholarship? No, I would have never done that. Nah. And this advice to all of you: finish your schooling. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be funny, but finish your schooling. If you get free money to go to school, you finish that first.
Platforms aren't going to respect LGBTQ plus creators and effectively try to eliminate us from it.
I don't think that's what this is. I don't think this has anything to do with, guys in the chat. Let me know if I'm wrong. If you feel I'm wrong, let me know. I'll listen. But I don't think that has anything to do with this.
By not granting us monetization forever, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I really didn't want to talk about this one because I feel like other creators oftentimes, particularly on the right, they use instances of demonetization and whatnot to push some sort of a fucking grift. And I hate that. And I don't want people to think that I'm trying to exploit this crisis for my own monetary gain. But I'm coming to you saying I have to use my platform now to advocate for myself, because being quiet and polite to YouTube very clearly has not behooved me. And, it never made sense to bite the hand that feeds me and start attacking YouTube more directly. But what else do I do? Being quiet hasn't worked. So I've got to make as much noise as possible and get them to pay attention to me, because they've been trying to ignore me. And I just can't allow that to happen.
All right, look, the big thing I want you to take away from this is that there has been some unfairness that has been happening in the space for quite some time. And those of you who are watching, your commentators, you know how the deal works. There are certain platforms that have a channel within YouTube itself, and they are exempt from a lot of the issues that we, the rest of us, cannot talk about and will be penalized for. That is the big issue. So I brought up this question on Twitter, and I said, should content creators and independent media peeps on YouTube, should all of these people at some point try to either make a push to unionize YouTube? I mean, guess technically we're contractors, or nationalize YouTube? Because I don't like just talking about the problems without some type of solution. Should there be some type of push to unionize YouTube so that the content creators on this platform are protected, so that you don't have to be a part of an MCN like TYT in order to have that protection? That's my take on this. I think that's honestly where this needs to lead. How many more people is this going to happen to? So for those of you asking what an MCN was, MCN for YouTube creators, multi-channel networks, help successful YouTube creators monetize their content and make videos they may have previously been beyond their capabilities. And with YouTube having over 2 billion monthly active users, there are now more opportunities than ever for creators to find success on the platform. If you're considering signing up with an MCN to help build your channel, you must make an informed decision. You have fees that you have to pay to belong to the MCN, and their contracts are legally binding. You can't just change your mind once you sign up for a specific period. While MCNs can offer you many benefits to grow your channel, you also have obligations to them. To some extent, you lose your independence as a YouTube creator. So that's important. And yes, those networks do help those channels grow. I don't know. This is why I don't belong to anybody. Like, I'm a part of RBN, but RBN is not an MCN. Just want to make that clear. We don't have a channel within YouTube. If we did, we wouldn't have received a strike. We're not big enough. We're not at that level. So the thing is just this is why I don't know.